WFMS.
Good morning. This is Josh Turner.
I recognize that voice straight away.
Oh,
as
yeah.
soon as I heard it. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing amazing.
I knew you'd be on time because, and actually you're early by 1 minute. You told us last time we talked that you are an early riser.
Well, I don't know about an early riser, but I try to be on time.
Is your voice always this deep, even in the morning or later in the day? I mean, did your voice change when you were like 7?
It was a gradual change. Ironically, I injured my voice in 1996 and thought I had lost my voice completely or my ability to sing. And
oh, no.
had to kind of work through it. Went to the Vanderbilt Voice Clinic, and like I say, it was a years long process. But as I learned how to use my voice properly, I noticed that it got bigger and better and deeper and stronger. So,
well, that's good news for all of us fans. That's awesome.
How did you recognize that you had that injury? Like, was it something like you were singing and like all of a sudden it just started to hurt? Like, how'd that happen?
Yeah, I didn't know there was a proper way to sing when I was growing up. So I was singing all the time. I was singing out of my range. I was pushing it. I wasn't staying hydrated. I was singing when I was tired. I mean, it just didn't matter. I wasn't breathing properly. And over time, it just it took a toll on my voice, and I started to feel like physical pain in my throat. And
wow!
So yeah, it's been quite the journey.
Well, obviously, you're in town this weekend. You'll be indoors, but when you're performing outdoors, that's got to be really tough, especially if you're like Matt, who suffers from allergies. That's really tough.
It can be. Usually I don't have a big problem with it. The only time it really bothers me is if I'm like in high altitude, and I feel like the older I get, the harder it is to sing in high altitude. So, but I don't think Indianapolis, I'm gonna have any problem.
No, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about this tour and specifically, the greatest hits tour and coming up with a set list for that. For you, what is the criteria of being a greatest hit? How do you measure that?
Because they're all great hits.
Yeah, because the audience is different, right?
That's a darn good question because, most people would assume that, hey, a hit is something that you had a chart success on, that was on the chart, on the radio and all of that. But, the selection on my greatest hits record is not completely that. And I think it's songs that have just meant something to the fans and meant something to me. And obviously, they got airplay and they were on a record and all of that. But yeah, I don't think a hit is necessarily always just something that, had chart success because, Long Black Train, for instance, it didn't even crack the top 10. So, a lot of people think that it was a number one, but it's all about the impact that it made.
Yeah. We love that you took the time to speak with us this morning. So after you're done talking with radio people, just walk us through what a day in the life of Josh Turner looks like. What will you be doing today?
Well, that's what's interesting about my life. Every day is different. I never know what's going to happen. I actually just got back from a school event and I have yet to eat breakfast. So when I get off the phone with y'all, I'm probably going to go find something to eat.
Now, find something or cook. Would you make it yourself?
Either one, whatever's quickest, because I'm starving right now.
Are you an eggs and bacon kind of guy, or are you just like a quick bowl of cereal kind of fella?
If I have my preference and if I have the time, I'm gonna be making grits and eggs and bacon, sausage, whatever. I'll go all out.
The Josh Turner menu, I like that.
Yeah.
What about on show days? Does your diet change for that?
A little bit. I try to stay away from anything too heavy or too spicy on show days. That can kind of bite me in the butt if I'm not careful. So I try to eat a little cleaner on show days.
Sure.
Now, how old are your kids now?
Well, I have 4 boys, and they're 9 to 17.
Oh my! So are they involved in sports or music or things that you're as a dad have to be or get to be involved in?
Oh yeah. There's always something going on. I think they're busier than I am. It's crazy. I hardly ever see them. But yeah, baseball, music, church, school, you name it. It's crazy.
you've got a child that's about ready to graduate high school, and is the next plan college then? And how does that make you feel as a father?
It makes me feel old, first of all. It's crazy. He's, like I say, he's 17, and it feels like yesterday that I was 17. I mean, it's crazy. I started playing guitar and writing songs when I was 17, and I remember the truck that I had. I remember all kinds of stuff about that time period in my life, and I blinked, and now I have a 17-year-old. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no kidding. No, if you would think, let's say we interviewed your kids one day and they described you in one word, how would they describe their dad?
Wow, in one word. You can't sum me up in one word. I'm too complex. There you go. There's the word, complex.
Complex.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, Josh, we're very excited about obviously having you here back in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Obviously not your first rodeo here in town, but is there anything that you can remember that stands out about Indianapolis? You're like, man, I want to make sure I do this while I'm there.
I haven't had a ton of time to get out and about there in Indianapolis, but I remember one time, and I've played more shows in Indianapolis than I can count, but one time I remember I was actually singing the anthem for the kind of like the pre-Indy 500 ceremonies.
Yeah.
I guess y'all have it every year.
Yeah.
And I remember I sang the anthem, and then right after me, Tom Brokaw was the keynote speaker, and he got up there and spoke, and I just thought that was kind of a cool.
That's cool.
moment.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear celebrities who get a little awestruck at others. So I think that's a cool memory.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome. Well, Josh, thank you so much for giving us some of your time, and we look forward to again the show coming up here on Saturday. And thanks for again taking a few moments.
Go get some breakfast.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, my pleasure. I will.
All right, take care.